Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. How is everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Another day. Another set of levels. Little pre-market gap down in the market. We have a lot to go over today's session. How is everybody doing? Welcome in, Express, Javier, Corey, Paris. Welcome, Paris. Express, welcome in, man. Welcome in, everybody. Who is texting me? Who is texting me at this hour? On D&D. We're on D&D. That's it. They can't talk to us now. We are on D&D. Good morning, guys. John, welcome in. Gianni, Nicole, Cedric, RJ, welcome in. Eddie, welcome in, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. New set of levels, new day. FOMC tomorrow. Big things to talk about today's session. We have a lot to go over. Pre-market gap down. Market's still in range though, but actually a pretty tactical day yesterday. It was a pretty easy read yesterday's session. We had a little bit of gap down, demand hold on gap down, and entered uptrend pretty much all day yesterday's session. And we held some big levels yesterday. I caught a little bit of a long on SPY. Nothing big, right? Nothing big. Just a little dollar scalp. Probably could have held it for longer, right? You can see actual uptrend was quite nice yesterday. I went long somewhere here, right, in that little consolidation phase, a little below than that. But yeah, that's where I went long yesterday and caught a little upside scalp in highs. But again, kind of trended all day yesterday, right? There was a nice little uptrend yesterday's session. And I think perhaps one of the best trades yesterday was early morning longs off of our demand here, 562, or it was late afternoon shorts, either shorts right off the 566 level, supply zone, or shorts off the 566 failure yesterday, which, if you guys recall, was 5,700 on the ES chart, right? So today's session, we're going to talk about things on the opposite side, because so far we moved from level here, right, to now a new level down below here at 555. So some big levels to discuss this morning on Tuesday. It's May the 6th. Vaishan, thank you so much, Vaishan. That is very nice of you. That is very kind. Thank you for supporting the stream. That is very, very kind of you, Vaishan. Very nice. Right, so let's move on, guys. I want to talk about a lot of different things today. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the first our econ data earnings reports. We're going to dive into our charts. We'll talk about SPY. We'll go over QQQ. We'll go over the ES chart as well. We're going to go over charts like Nvidia today. I'll talk about Nvidia. Where's Nvidia approaching that demand below now? Big demand here in Nvidia. Someone said, I love that. Venus Coleman says, even I could read yesterday. I love it. That's you have a very good mentality. You know what? Like always have that positive mindset and that comical mindset. You're absolutely gonna kill it. Yesterday was a good readable session. But anyway, today's session we'll talk about Nvidia. We'll go over what's going on here in Nvidia, potentially break and retest Nvidia off this 110, 112 area. We'll go over AMD. We'll talk about AMD in this level, right? You can see here again, AMD is going to make a big move here. We just don't know where it's going to be yet, right? Obviously, you can see that every stock, but we have big demand below here, right? And the question is this an hourly break and retest pullback for a long opportunity here at this 99 level for an upside play? So we'll talk about the AMD chart, going over that as well. We'll talk to the SMH. SMH finding some struggle here. This is the supply here in SMH, and it is finding struggle, right? You can see supply above us, struggle in supply. So we'll go over that. We'll talk about this chart here in SMH. We'll go over Tesla. Tesla, we spoke about downside under 280. But what did we say yesterday is so important? I think sometimes some of the most important things about what we say in the pre-market session is not only what we would do, right? Which is, hey, we would short Tesla under 280. But it's what we wouldn't do, right? What did we say? Hey, if you want to get spicy, you want to get crazy, you can go for shorts under 280. And where is it going to go into? Only back down into 274, 273. Go back to the stream yesterday and you're going to find out that's exactly what we said, right? This is precisely what we said yesterday was if you want to get crazy, you're going to do this. You're going to look for shorts under 280 for a downside move, but only to the extent of that 273, 274 area. And that's exactly where we found support yesterday's session. We found support pretty much precisely at that technical demand lows. Guys, I want to say something now before we move on. You guys, I used to look over here a lot because I used to have you guys on my third monitor. I now have you guys on my first monitor. So if you guys see me looking over here, that's because I'm reading the chat. So this is the chat. This is my charts. That's the camera. So sometimes I always find it weird when people are like, they're doing like a Zoom call or like a video and they're like looking somewhere else. It's because I'm looking down over here to read the chat, just making that a point so nobody questions why I'm looking down, right? So when I'm looking down, I'm reading the chat, okay? So let's move on, guys. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. Let's go over earnings reports, economic data, then we're going to go right back into our charts. So on the earnings reports for today's session, today is Tuesday, May the 6th. In today's session, we have some big earnings coming in the after hours. We have SMCI, we have AMD, we have Rivian, and that's what we have. That's all we have today's session of importance. Tomorrow's session, we have Uber, we have Disney, we have Novo, NVO. This is going to be probably a big one. Why? Because it's always big. So watch out for NVO in the pre-market session tomorrow morning. Okay. On the economic data side, you know that today's session is important, right? We have international trader goods 8:30, which was about 8 minutes ago. We have 11 o'clock data as well, some 11 o'clock bill announcements, but that's not important. What is important though is going to be tomorrow's session, FOMC. Everything this week is about FOMC. So you got to understand something. Everything about this week is simply about the Federal Open Market Committee tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., in which the market is pricing in, wait for this, no rate cut, right? The market is pricing in no rate cut right now. So that's what the futures are pricing in. And we'll discuss that more tomorrow morning as we get closer. But again, no market cut is what the expectations are on this May FOMC meeting. But what the market is looking forward to see, hey, what's going on with June? Are we expecting that rate cut in June? Which the market is expecting that, but we're going to see as we get more information during this FOMC announcement. Okay, so let's move on. We'll talk about this as we go on. I want to go over our SPY chart. I want to talk about what happened yesterday. We have Crystal. That is also very nice of you guys. I hope this is coming out of profits. Seriously, I mean that. If you're taking good trades, it's coming out of profits. It's awesome. Absolutely do not have to do this. But Crystal Santiago, it's very nice of you. Thank you so much. That is very, very kind of you. Right, so we have 1,000 people in here this morning session. I want to get a sip of water, and then we're going to get started. Okay, so I have to drink water, or else I'm going to lose. I just keep losing my voice because I keep yelling at you guys, and then after live trading and after the pre-market, I just have no voice anymore. So I need to drink water. Okay, so on the SPY chart, what happened yesterday, right? In my opinion, this was a very, very nice day, right? And to be honest with you, I probably could have just been more aggressive on this Monday session. I just wanted, after a tricky Friday, I wanted a little bit of simplicity, right, on coming into Monday session. But what was yesterday's session? What happened yesterday? Well, what we said in the pre-market session was we said one thing in particular. We said, hey, guys, the bull bear pivot is simply 562. If we hold 562, we should do what? We should trend higher until 566. That's what we said yesterday, right? And with that mindset, it then becomes, where are our entry points? And in my opinion, there were two potential entry points on the market yesterday for long side plays. There are two, right? There really were two. The first long side entry was this right here, right before data at 9:50. And if you guys recall, during live trading, I got my contracts loaded. I was like, should I enter? You know what? I'm not going to enter because we have data at 10 o'clock. So I didn't take this first trade. This was the better opportunity. Longs right off 562. The second best opportunity, in my opinion, was understanding this, seeing that the market was entering an uptrend early morning after holding 562, right? So what happened was basically this. And I'll draw it out properly so you can see it. Not even going to look at the price action here. You can see it with the proper arrow, right? You can see we came back down. We gapped into demand, right? We held support, V-shaped reversion off support, right? V-shaped reversion off support. We then formed a high here, right? Pulled back, and then started to form an uptrend here after pulling back this demand. Right here is what was happening, right? This right here. And this little upside play, the second best upside play, was when we came back into this level here, which was that little retest over here at 563. And we ripped right off 563 and moved straight to 566, right? This was the long yesterday. The long yesterday was right here at this inflection point. Why am I drawing this on arrows? That's a good question, and I don't really know why. But if you look at the chart, right, you could see big upside move, right, off demand and pull back to our level here. You could have entered longs here. That's what I did on Monday session. Entered longs here. Scapped a little upside play back in the highs. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I longed right here and got the whole move into 566. I wish I did. I didn't. I just caught a little bit of a $1.20 scalp, made my little bit of green, and walked away for the day. Now, in my opinion, the second best trade of the day, and I'm actually going to say this, the second best trade was off of one level here, 566. This is the supply zone on that Monday session, and we saw a initial reaction at the 566 level. This was a good short. I did catch a little bit of this. I caught a little bit of this downside play while I was driving. In my car. I shouldn't say that. No, I was not driving. I was parked. Okay, I was parked. So let's just pretend I was right under a 566 rejection play. Right, was a level yesterday, and then we failed back under 566 for the best possible short, and that was the real downside move. Okay, so what does this mean for today? Well, it means this. It means that the market's still in range, right? It means that the market is still under supply. It means the market is not going anywhere, right? The market is contracted to the zone before you have what? Before what? Why is the market contracted to this zone? Why did we start why did we enter an uptrend yesterday and then reverse all the way back down yesterday? What would happen yesterday? Well, it's because of this. It's because it's FOMC announcement 2 p.m., right? So 2 p.m. FOMC announcement, that is causing the market to not really have much juice, right? There was trend yesterday, but the market did reverse back to that mean, and we have now gapped down into a new demand. So just like yesterday's session, right? Remember we said we had a gap down yesterday's session. Well, into today's session, what I would watch out for is I'd watch for this. This is where we're talking about actionable things now. Scenario one is we just sell off the open. If we sell off the open, boom, look for longs out the 555. That, in my opinion, is a solid play today. I think this could be a nice long entry. Demand. If we hold 555, we're holding demand. Obviously, we lose 5.5, we go to 550. But in my opinion, I think we should probably hold 555 today. That's where I would put my money on, is just holding the 555 technical demand. So if you're going to look for longs today, look for this to happen. Look for a little bit of this. You could look for something like that to happen today. A little bit of a hold, maybe 553.50 or 555 area for a potential reversion play today. So my main watch today session in this major gap down is what? And you're seeing on the news in the background, you're seeing all this trade war stuff, right? A big trade war, but all this crazy stuff. But for me, let's just focus on levels. My level is going to be 555 demand. And if we pull back to there, I'm going to look for a long side there. If we break and fail it, right, I'm going to look for a long side above this entry, right? That's all I'm looking for today's session on demand side, right? So looking for that today's session. If you want to look for pop and fades today, your best pop and fade is going to be this 562 level. If we can pop into 562, you can look for a short side entry off of yesterday's lows. So if you're going to look for trades today, you're simply just doing this. You're looking for, hey, rejections off the 562 level or demand bounces off the 555 level. That's what I would look for today's session, okay? If the market does get back above 562 with conviction, then we likely just go higher back into 566 and enter uptrend. So that, in my opinion, is what I'd be looking for going into our session ahead of us. 562 rejections, 555 demand bounce, right? Let's move on, guys. Let's go over the ES chart. Let's talk about ES. Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure. Can you? I mean, obviously, you guys would have told me that, right? But does the audio sound good? Does the audio sound good? Is everything good? I want to make sure technically we're good. Are we good? We're good? I think we're saying yes. Clear. Awesome. Everyone's clear. Perfect. Cool. So let's move on. On the ES chart, what I would watch for, yesterday's session, and let's talk a little bit about yesterday first, and then we'll go over into our session today. So yesterday's session, we held the demand right yesterday. The same demand we spoke about in the pre-market session. We said, hey, we are holding demand. Fancy, you are awesome, Fancy. Thank you very much, Fancy. I don't. That is very nice of you. Fancy is an absolute animal. Thank you so much. That is very kind of you. Fancy, we're going to go over Netflix today. Trust me, we're going to go over Netflix. So 56.58 demand. Guys, if you donate too much, I don't have to trade today, right? We pause the donations, right? I need to trade a little bit, right? 56.58 holding demand here on the ES chart. And we are popping higher on the market, right? And then we pushed into 5,700 level, and this is where we saw failures come in, right? This was the supply we spoke about yesterday's session, and we saw a little bit of a look above and then a fail below, right? That's your classic look above and fail below. Now, this was your short yesterday, and this was your long yesterday, right? That was the opportunities yesterday's session, and it was pretty pinpoint. It was an easy to read session, okay? Now, if I were to look at today's session and understand what's going to happen in today's session, well, what I would watch out for is I'd look to see, are we holding 5,600? My main focal point today's session is going to be, can we get some sort of pullback long here off this 5,600, right? If we can look for longs here, that's my main watch today, right? You can see 5,600, 5,600. I mean, really 5,596 is the level, right? But again, the whole zone between 56 and all I'll do is I'll draw a proper zone here so you can get it marked out the right way, right? You can see here between 5,600 ES to that 5,596 level. This is where I'd be looking for the market to sell off into. And if it does sell off into this level, that's where I'm looking for that demand bounce to come in, right? So my main focus today's session is going to be looking to see, hey, can we pull back into this level over here? Can we set up longs off this demand and look for reversion plays? That's my main focus today. If we fail back under 56, we go back into 55.78, which again is another big demand zone to watch out for. Keep an eye off that 55.68, 55.70 level as well. So this 5,600 level ES lines up almost perfectly with the 555 technical demand. So again, you know what we're doing today, looking for bounces here, looking for failures there. That's what I'll be looking for going into my morning session ahead of us, right? Let's move on, guys. Let's go over the QQQ. Let's talk about Qs. On the Qs, what we're seeing here on the QQQ is pretty simple, right? Yesterday, we said what? What did we say yesterday about the 485 level? We said, hey, if we're above 45, we're bullish. And we said, one of these charts is right and one of these charts is wrong. And that was probably one of the most important things I said yesterday. I said, you know what? Qs 485 we're opening under it. This is where we opened yesterday's session. We opened under this level and we said Qs look bearish, right? But then you look at the market open and what changed this from being a bear chart to a bull chart? It told us the SPY was right yesterday. Well, we broke and maintained above the 45. And then right here at this very moment, if you guys recall, this is where I went long in the S&P 500. It was because Qs were back above 45. And that was an important level that we had to understand yesterday's session. It was just simply 45, right? Now today's session, no, not that. On today's session, or we're watching for in today's session, nope, not that. We're watching for in today's session. I have to manually delete these because my undo button's not working. If I do undo, it brings me to a different chart. So if I go to Qs now on the 15-minute chart, what we have to understand now is there is a technical reason why we won't see any set of buyers until 476, right? I think that what likely happens here on the Qs is we need to see some sort of deeper pullback, deeper retracement here to 475, 476, in which case that's our long opportunity, right? Obviously, we long above 45. We know that from yesterday's session. Above 45, we see 492. That's a good technical long today. But I don't know if this is going to happen. I think what's most likely going to happen is we're going to see some sort of pullback long here, 475. Look for that today. We probably trend lower to 475. That's my main focal point for long side trades. If you're looking for shorts, I would not short this until we see a pop into 45. If you see a pop into 45, I'd look for shorts here at the 45. So short here at 45, or look for longs here at 475. That's what I'm focusing on today's session. 475 demand or 45 resistance. A lot of today's session, guys, is with the assumption that we are staying in range. Now, we could be wrong about this assumption, right? But this is how trading is. We must understand our levels, and we must go back to SPY and understand our levels too. And with these levels, we can then make ideas up, right? So my idea now this morning is hold there, resistance there. That's it. Those are my ideas today. And I want to see, are these ideas going to confirm on the 5-minute time frame, on the 2-minute time frame, on the intraday time frame, right? And yesterday, you saw those confirmations come in. You saw them come in off the demand, off the open. You can see 562 held as support, upside trade. 566 level resistance failed yesterday, downside trade. So it's all about marking these levels out pre-market and then executing it in the intraday. And maybe this happens today. Maybe the market flushes the 555 today, and maybe crazy, right? Wait for this. Maybe we don't take the trade, right? Maybe we see the market flushing so aggressively, we don't take the trade. In fact, it turns into a downside break and retest trade. That could happen today. I don't think it's going to happen today, probably unlikely, but the market will respond to these levels and we must read it on the intraday time frame to determine what's going to happen, right? So let's move on, guys. I want to go over to my first ticker of the day. Let's talk about Tesla. Tesla. Probably one of the best downside charts yesterday. Tesla under 280 was really nice. You can see here, I would say a little bit choppy here under 280, but it did give you the downside play. So under 280 break, retest, downside move back into 274, 275. And if you guys recall, I don't want to spend all of today's session talking about what we spoke about yesterday, but we did mention that the 280 level was the level for shorts under 280. And we said, what did we say more important than this was the fact that we said, if you're going to go long, if you're going to be short yesterday's session under 280, you only can be short back in 274, 275. That I think was an important idea yesterday's session. And going into our session ahead of us now, what is the idea going forward? The idea going forward is the fact that we are still at that 275 demand below, right? We're just still sitting at this demand below. You can still see, look at the V-shaped reversions, and the V-shaped reversions that occur here at 274, 272. I do not want to be short here unless I see this happen. The only short that I can look for today's session, this is the only short, right? Is going to be a break and fail here under 272 for a downside play. That is what I want to see now. If this happens, that's my short opportunity. Even the 280, I don't even like the 280 for shorts anymore. I'm not a huge fan of this anymore. I would prefer looking for shorts under 272 because at this point, it should just break down. If it doesn't break down here, it's going to do this. It's going to stomp all the bears holding puts, holding shorts yesterday, and it's going to go right back in the highs. This is a very probable scenario today. Very probable. Why? Because if the market holds here at this demand below, and after a crazy gap down the market continues to maintain here, and let's say SPY holds support here at 555, well, Tesla's going to squeeze off this 272, 273. So am I watching for longs here in Tesla? Probably not either, right? But I'm certainly not watching for shorts because I don't want to look for shorts until we break and hold under 272. So if you're going to watch for long side trades, look for a move above 280. That's your long side trade. If you're watching for short side trades, look for a move under 272 for a downside play. That's what I'm watching here in the Tesla chart. Taven Reed, thank you very much, Taven. That is also very nice of you. Absolutely. I will go over IWM. You know what? Let's do IWM now before I forget because it is an ETF, so we can go over IWM. IWM 200, simple, right? We have a level here in IWM. It's very simple here in IWM, right? You can see you have a series of lows here. You have a low, and you have a high built here, 200. I would be careful of longing back into 200 here on the IWM. This could be a really nice short opportunity, right? You're seeing here a potential short play, right? Now, obviously, just a little flag right into our resistance here at this 200 level. So I would look to see, can we fail now? Can this fail? Oh, wow, you can really see how important this level is. You can see this is a really critical level here on the IWM. This is a chart that I should just go over, right? Look at this. This is a chart that I should start adding to the docket. This is a really nice chart. 200 failure here, right? I would say at this point, if we lose now under 196, you can look for shorts and a short side play back into 191. That's my main focus, right? Obviously, bear flag coming in. We are bearish as long as we're under 200. If we can clear 200, we'll back bullish, but as of right now, bearish. Under 196 for puts for a move lower back into 191. That's my main focus today that would be my main focus on the IWM. Okay, let's move on. Let's go over next ticker today. Let's talk about Nvidia. Let's go over chips first, guys. Let's go over chips. On the Nvidia chart, what I'm watching for on Nvidia chart is going to be 115. Someone said I'm very confusing. Are you guys confused? You can be honest with me, right? I can go over the ticker back. I can go back over the chart again, and we can talk about it. But I think that if you are confused, you should probably rewatch the stream because it shouldn't be so confusing. It's just levels. All I'm doing here is going over levels. On the Nvidia chart, the level is very simple here. The level is 115. If we can get above 115, we have a very clear long trigger. What I'm watching for in Nvidia is a break and retest long here, 115, and an upside trade back in the highs here, 120. Look for a long side above this 115 area. That's confusing. Is that confusing? Are we confused? 115 break and retest. I don't mean to be condescending. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm actually trying to make this clear. If it's above 115, we can look for long side trades. And trust me, I know that I do talk fast. Maybe that's what it is. But above 115, longs back into 120. That could be a good technical long side trade today. Likewise, and here's where we're getting a little confusing here. This is where now we're getting confusing. If we can maintain 110 now, which is our demand here too. So first long side trade, obviously above 115. This is a good long trigger. The second long side trade is going to be here at 110. If we can maintain 110, I'm looking for longs here as well. So 110 demand hold. It's a little confusing though. The reason why I say this is because I would look for this to break and reclaim 110. That'd be the best possible long entry because it's already tapped it once before. Or I would look for this to happen today. So This chart, yes, I know it's a little bit not so clear here, but you can see this is a clear bull flag, and the bull flag may present nicely if it can build above 115, or we can get a nice early entry here off the 110 level. So that's what I'm watching here in Nvidia. Pretty simple chart here, above 115 or a pullback long here 110. Okay, and the reason why I'm even mentioning this demand below is because you can see we have held the demand a few times. And if we can maintain demand again here off this 110, this could rip, especially if it clears 115. So again, nice chart here. On the AMD chart, AMD has earnings in the after hours today's session, right? So I would be cautious of trading AMD. AMD could be a pretty tricky chart to trade today's session, especially because IV is going to be very inflated. If you're going to trade AMD though, what I'd watch out for is I'd watch to see how we respond to this 100 level. Really, this pre-market low, 90, let's adjust this properly. Let's go to 5 minute here for a second. Under this 99.5, under 99.5. This is what I would do here on AMD, right? AMD is bullish above 99.5. So right now, this is still a bullish break and retest here in AMD. You're seeing a big upside play and a pullback trade setting up back at demand here, turning these previous sets of supports into resistance, into support this morning. This is still a long opportunity, right? I know AMD reports earnings in the after hours, but if you are trading AMD, we are bullish above 99.5. So you can look for upside back in the highs here. If we do fail back below 99.5, right, then I think this goes back lower into 98. So AMD's trade is going to be presented by either above that 99.5, or which we are right now, or below 99.5, in which case we can see a downside play back into 98. Does this make sense? Are we all in agreement? You guys can see my charts here. Can we see my AMD chart? For some reason, the chat is paused for me. I can't see anything. Oh, I don't know why it's paused. For some reason. Oh, there we are. There we are. Cool. You guys were paused for a second. I was wondering why no one was talking. My chart was paused. Now I see everybody. They're saying Meta. Yes, yes, yes. Did I miss Tesla? Yes, you missed Tesla. Go back about 5 minutes ago. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, good. So I was wondering why nobody was talking. I thought everyone was really confused for a second because nobody was talking, but it was just my chat wasn't loading. Okay, let's move on. Let's go over Netflix. Netflix is, no, SMH. SMH first. SMH, the problem with the SMH right now, to be honest with you, is this. The problem with the SMH, and this is the semiconductor ETF ticker, is the fact that we're rejecting supply. For real upside on semis, I would prefer this to be above 218. Just a side note here, I don't plan to trade SMH, but 218 break and retest here on the SMH is a must for long side trades on semiconductors, right? This could be a nice long side trade. Otherwise, we pull back into 205, which seems to be what's happening right now. And that's your secondary long opportunity. So SMH, kind of a little flimsy here. That's why Nvidia is that's why, as much as I say Nvidia longs, I want to see what happens with SMH, right? Because SMH is going to dictate how the Nvidia chart moves. Obviously, Nvidia is still vowed above 115 and still vowed here at 110, but I want to see what happens here on the SMH to kind of help me get more confidence and more conviction on this Nvidia chart, right? Let's go over Netflix now. Let's talk about Netflix. So Netflix, yesterday's session, we bounced at a level we did not talk about, right? We bounced at 1084. This is a level, I can see it, right? And what I must do now is I must add this as a level. I did not have it as a level yesterday, but you can clearly see it is still a level. Now, I was a bit surprised we bounced off this level because it was quite early. I do think at some point in time, eventually we pull back this 1064 level. I think that's what happens eventually, right? I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think at some point in time, we pull back this 1064, 1060, and that's your ultimate long opportunity here. You can see previous all-time highs, resistance, turning into support in the pre-market here at 1065, 1064, right? Yes, I know you guys are saying I'm a fast talker. If I don't talk fast, we won't get through everything, all the tickers we want to get through. So I know I have to talk really fast in order to do it. But 1064, 1065, that's your technical demand here at Netflix. Watch this chart. Set alerts here, right? My opinion here on Netflix is you just set alerts. If the chart is above 1064, 1065, it probably eventually at some point will revert back. And Netflix is one of those charts where it may take a week to do it, right? It may take some time. It may take a few days, it may take a week, 2 weeks to do it, but eventually at some point, this pullback is going to come, and this pullback is going to arrive when nobody's watching it, right? When you are not watching it, when I'm not watching it, and then all of a sudden we're going to come back in a pre-market webinar, and someone's going to say, "Hey, go over Netflix," and we're going to go over Netflix, and Netflix is going to look like this, right? Netflix is going to look like this. This is what's going to happen, right? It's going to consolidate for a while. It's going to get everyone not interested in it anymore. Then all of a sudden, it does this, boom, bop, right? And then we're there like, oh my God, we just missed the bounce, right? We just missed that massive all-time high retest. I would say, obviously, this is your long opportunity, in my opinion, not financial advice, but again, that's where I would be looking for longs, right? 1064, 1060 as my technical demand below, okay? Right, let's move on. Let's go over PLTR. Whoa. What's going on here? PLTR earnings, beat on the earnings side, beat on the revenue side. There is some news here, I'm sure, right? Where's the news? Bring out the news. Here it is. Okay, so Palantir sinks 9% after Q1 beat fails to impress investors. Their fail, I mean, it's a beat. It's a nice beat across the board. Morgan Stanley adjusts price target okay, so they're getting 90 to 98 so from 90, so just a PT upgrade. We also have 94 from 80, so also upgrades across the board. And then you have Loop Capital going from 130 to 125, so it's a little bit of a downgrade. So you do have a mixed bag here in PLTR, right? And this is a 140 to 140 from 120. So a little bit of a mixed bag here on PLTR. Not clear direction, right? We have a lot of banks going up and down on their and look at what a surprise, right? What a surprise, right? Of course this is happening right at the all-time highs, right? Of course, right? So obviously double topping here at the all-time highs, and I would not be long here on this PLTR chart. I would wait for lower. I would wait for 104. And I would wait for 99. That's what I look for here on the PLTR chart. Demand 1, demand 2. That's what I look for here on PLTR. But again, big earnings play, downside move, watch 104, watch 98. Okay, let's move on, guys. We have more tickers to go over. Apple was the short of yesterday's session, and I was a little bit mad I didn't catch this trade. I caught a little bit of SPY yesterday, but to be honest, Apple was a short. You guys remember what we said yesterday pre-market? What did we say yesterday pre-market? We said look for the break and retest downside play off this 202 level, right? This was the short yesterday, and this was what presented itself probably the best. You can see downside break, retest, play down, right? So where does this go now? If I'm trading Apple today's session, what I'm watching for Apple into this morning session is I'm watching to see this. I'm watching for this. I do not want to be short here. Why? Because this chart is already in that ebb and flow. Ebb and flow. I want to be getting in on the flow, right? So watching for a 202 pop and fade. That's my main focus today here on the Apple chart. So watch 202. If you guys smacked out James, you smacked Apple yesterday, you are an animal, right? This is you are a killer. If you smacked Apple yesterday, that was a trade yesterday, and you should be very happy. Be proud of yourself. This was a really good trade yesterday. Today's session, watch the 202 pop and fade. Watching for this today's session. Yeah, if it breaks 197, I see it, right? If it breaks 197, obviously it's a pre-market low. Where does it go to? Yeah, I mean 190, right? It goes into 190. It's aggressive though. You gotta have cojones to do that, right? I'll be honest with you. You gotta have cojones, right? Because this is still a very aggressive downside move. I would prefer the flow to get short, but if you short under 197, you can do it, right? And it should go to 190. That's really the next demand below. But you gotta have cojones, right? That's the level, 197 level or 202 a pop and fade. That's what I watched for on this Apple chart today's session, right? Let's move on. Let's go over. We have 1,200 people in here. How many likes do we have? 400 likes, guys. We have very little likes today. Let's go over Amazon. Amazon chart. Amazon 192. Above 192 for longs. Still watching that, right? Obviously, Amazon reported earnings Thursday last week. Today's session, you can see it's still just bound between channel high, channel low. I would watch for puts under 180, or I'd watch for longs above 192. That's all I look for in this on this Amazon chart. Okay. Let's move on. Let's go over the last ticker of the day. Let's go over one last ticker of today's session. Let's go over Meta. Meta's chart doing nothing, right? It bounced off its shelf yesterday's session here at 580. Didn't even bounce off 580. No, I'm lying, right? Didn't even do anything yesterday's session. Meta actually just broke. Oh, it did give us a break and retest yesterday, about 596. That was probably the best trade. It was a break and retest 596 upside trade. That could have been your long yesterday. But today's session, if you're trading it, right, I would still watch to see if you can find any life off one of the shelves. Shelf 1 and Shelf 2. Those are your two shelves to watch here on Meta chart. 580 support and 558 support. Nothing big here. I don't really have much conviction here in the Meta chart, to be honest with you. Usually I'll tell you guys when I love something on the Meta chart. I have no idea, right? I have no idea. And it's important for me to say that sometimes, right? I want to be honest with you guys. Sometimes I have conviction, sometimes I don't. This chart, I have no conviction here, okay? Let's go over one last ticker. Let's not end here. Let's do one last ticker. XYZ. Last ticker of the day, XYZ. Big gap down after earnings on May 1st. If you're watching XYZ, you're watching this. Watch this demand below here at the 40 level. 41, you're looking for longs there. In my opinion, that's where I'd be looking for long side trades, big technical demand, or looking for a reversion trade there. That's it. That's all we have here in XYZ chart. 41 to 40, big technical demand below, right? That's all we have. Guys, thank you all for joining in. I will see you all for live trading if you live trade with us. If you don't, the link is in the description. Happy and safe trading, guys. I'll see you guys all soon. Bye, everybody.